给他什么回馈或者意见建议？
I would like to say it's really beautiful. Like actually, you have already in your introduction you have already answered the first question I would like to ask, which is, do you write all this down in one setting?
Just
in one time.
One hour 30 minutes.
Because it's really beautiful. I'd like to ask you for an English copy, something like that, and the translation and translator is really great. I really suggest you to put the timing for the name of the translator longer because they'll just vanish like 1 second. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, because
beautiful.
Yeah, because I know two people.
Yeah,
one for
one French translator and
then
English translator.
One for English translation because they know me very well. So.
Oh, no wonder, because that's why I understand why you call it monologue. It's like your monologue to your sister.
Yeah, but the title was, it was called Tell Me Your Story, and then after I lost the desire to make film of my parents, I found my sister grave, and then it's called Monologue to a Sister, and I didn't know, perhaps just call it Monologue.
Here I am. I would like to know there are some discrepancies with the reality of your story and the story in this film. You said that in this film, you said that you never seen your sister in flesh and blood, but actually in your memory you do remember the time then while she was dying. So what?
Yeah, I remember her through the story that my parents told me.
So actually you never seen her.
Because I was born in
Oh yeah, because
in
there are 6 years difference between you, right?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Older sister.
Yeah, older sister.
Yeah, she is, because that's why I was curious about.
Because
before I saw the film.
If my parents did not tell me about her, but
so
I will not have the imagination about her.
So to this day, you still don't have the whole facts about her, right? Including
No,
the
just
reason
only one
why.
small photograph of her.
And your parents even didn't tell you why she passed away. Is that correct?
They told because she died of starvation, no food. But when they reached this part,
It stopped.
they stopped.
I can understand that it stopped, and it's like to me as audience, it's like your therapeutic process. It's a psychological therapy.
Yeah.
That you have, that this is something that you have to do for yourself to finish this business that you carried it almost all of your life.
But I think it was an accident for me, to find this kind of grave, my sister's graveyard. Actually, 2008, I was making pictures of rubber plantation, right? And then I encountered the bomb crater, the bomb pond. Right? And I continue making film about the bomb and photograph about the bomb pond. And then at the time, I think I am trapped. I am trapped in the history. And you cannot do anything. You have to stay there and then contemplate the history, try to understand the history. To understand the trap. And then they have to go on like this. And then, let's do it about my parents. And then you found your sister, my sister's grave. And then I realized that there are thousands of graveyards in Cambodia like this. They are big, but now we don't have the time to show another film. It's called Landscape of Time.
Next time.
Yeah, next time, because Landscape of Time is the second part of the Monologue trilogy. Yeah, because
trilogy.
Yeah, trilogy.
Cool.
Because I decided, because I realized after I made the monologue, I realized that the many graveyards in Cambodia, which is now orange plantation, papaya plantation, rice fields, and people even build their houses on top of the grave. And I have no even a word to describe this kind of situation. No word.
another two film.
Second part of the Monologue trilogy. It's called The Landscape of Time, but maybe next time.
Or if you have 30 minutes, you
next
can
time.
also have it tonight. Because this
If you
one
want to
has
watch it
Chinese
now,
subtitles.
you have Chinese subtitles. But and then I don't say anything about the landscape of time. I do the 360 degree like this to show the surrounding. Yeah, very green, very peaceful. But it's wrong. It's wrong. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Now I look at the landscape in Cambodia really in a skeptical way, you know. We don't really trust it anymore.
But when we die, we just go back to the dust, with or without the casket. When we die, we just go back to the dust, with or without a big funeral, a beautiful casket. And I understand the way that you feel when you eat the rice or any fruits from the country. Maybe they were born in the subtitles. Maybe they were born from the remains of these ancestors, these people. They were killed like maybe decades ago.
But I don't know. I would like to know more about them. You know, how they cope with this kind of situation. You know, living. They still live in the past, you know.
Maybe
the past, they all underneath them. They still live. For me, it's quite absurd, you know. But I don't know. I would like to know more what they think.
maybe they just don't think about it anymore.
They
just don't.
Well, it's a matter of if someone asks them, they would describe the story. You know, can be days. Yeah, I can tell you. Like it just happened yesterday.
Well, it's a good thing that maybe you are a stranger. You ask some old people and they will tell you, instead of asking your parents. So maybe have you think about the possibility? Maybe you introduce some older people, some people in older generations. They're gonna tell you because they don't know about you. You don't have that kind of emotional burden. They have to tell you some part of the very private, horrible past. So it's a good chance that you can interview people in the older generation and you can ask other people to ask something that you want to know from your parents. Maybe your parents will be more willing to talk to strangers.
You know, but I think more or less they carry common stories. I don't think it's not really different from my parents' story.
You're right, but you still want to know your own stories. And
no matter, it's not because I would like to know, but it's just accident, you know. I was struck into history. I have to live this way. I have to live myself this way. I have to keep continuing like this. You know, right after the bomb ponds, I became like this. Yeah. And still I don't. When you read the story in the book, they only tell certain things. But when you go to the fields, you have something else. Something else that really absurd, that they not really exposed in the books, history books. So I don't know how many accidents I would run onto. I don't know yet. But for now, from the bomb ponds to my sister's grave and then to the other people's grave. Yes. And some places they manage to build the Buddhist temples, you know. Of course, there's we call mass grave. Mass grave is, you know, you have many big holes in one side, which consists of 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 30 to 50,000 people. That's called mass grave. But some, you know, the Buddhist temple that I've been to, about they have around, there are around 30,000 people were.
But why are you so shocked? Are you implying that they shouldn't do something like that? What can they do with it since they're everywhere? It remains everywhere, almost everywhere.
But at least they should put the sign that this is.
Okay.
We have to learn. We have to learn about what we've done. You know.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn what have we done, what we have done. You know. But in Cambodia, I don't know. In some other countries too, that they don't really care about this kind of casualties. I mean, don't really care about people's life. Well, I cannot figure it out.
I either cannot figure out is it the question of willing or is the question of ability? The point of willing, the question of willing, like they want to understand the past, or the question of ability, like they just cannot deal with it any way.
I don't think they try to understand the past. They just try to forget the past.
You're right. It's the easiest way.
Yeah. I don't think it's easy to forget the past. Since
for them, maybe for
some people.
I think your head is bright enough, you know, smart enough to keep everything. I think the head is bright enough.
Yeah.
And you cannot lie. Yeah. Even though sometimes you're scared of something, your stomach really. You cannot figure out why I'm having that kind of problem, but you have something, I mean, in your thought, really deep. Perhaps that you're too excited, you're too scared. Perhaps you're scared of what? Perhaps you don't really know, right? But in Cambodia, of course, they don't really try to understand that kind of violence, you know, in the past, and that's haunting them. You know, that's haunting them because they don't really understand that why that happens and why so many people killed and why they build the house and plant the orange on top of the rail. There's no answer. But I can say, I'm sorry to say that, but that's kind of the when we don't have the education. Of course, 80% in Cambodia we don't really have education. But I think then that became, we live by instinct, not the intellect. Instinct. So it's more or less like animal, we don't really care about life anymore. That's what my personal point of view. And in Cambodia, we call the DCCAM, the documentation of Cambodia. We only collect the hard evidence, the physical evidence, but not the
mental,
mental or psychological evidence or experiences that we lack of, the feeling, the thought of the people. That the hardest thing we have to deal with, to ease the pain, to understand the pain. Translation.
I think for many people like Vandy's parent and himself probably very much the same, because during the regime there was a huge displacement of people from the city or elsewhere in the country to different locations, and many of them lost their parents, their families, and they probably couldn't trace back the memory. And Vandy probably is very lucky because he has parents who still remember where they bury his sister. That you can, share this kind of memories, even though it's not a good one. My parent, my dad, he was like, he grew up in Taipei and he visited his family in Kaohsiung, something like this. But during the time, there was a regime took over the country, so he couldn't return back. And then for a period of 3 years, and after the regime over, he doesn't know where to start finding the relative. All he knows is everyone presumably dead. And I'm sure that a lot of people like this, because there are millions of people who has been displaced from one place to another. Sometimes we don't want to remember things, but we have nothing to remember. Then we just move on, I guess. So a lot of people who share the same story probably wouldn't want to go back and look at what it is too. I think this might be one of the reasons why we didn't put a landmark or put. Maybe just nobody know what it is, where it is, and what to do with it.
So you think the document censor of Cambodia, the DCK, they managed to put some signs whether to identify this is the grave, or the mass grave, but not all.
Maybe take some time to.
就是其实，在那个红色高棉的时候，他们有很大规模的迁徙，就是有点像是文化大革命那样，就是下乡劳改那样。所以他们很多人其实，比如说像他父亲，他可能原本住在某个城市，然后他被移到，他去回到他的家乡的时候，然后因为刚好那时候红色高棉政权开始，所以他就没有办法回去。所以他刚刚提到是说，一个问题是，当然是大家不想要回忆过去，但另外一个问题是，其实他也没有办法，因为他已经不记得他当时，比如说他可能根本无法辨识他到底是从哪里来，或是他的家人就四散了，也没有办法告诉他说，比如说他没有办法找到他的亲戚啊什么之类的，所以这是可能是其中2个问题，对，然后，所以这可能也是，比如说他刚刚说到，比如说在那些墓园都没有一个标志，因为可能也许根本就没有人知道，这是